Hello, everyone. Well, that was different music, wasn't it? I'm trying out a new streaming software called EV recommended to me by the Guitar Stuff Studio. I'll just say hello to people. I think Gnome is trying to join me, but he said the last thing he said to me was going into Chrome standby. I don't know what that means, but hopefully he'll be joining us soon. Thank you, Anne, for becoming a member. Thank you so much. Hey, Irish. Hey, Sandy. Nasty Nathaniel. How you going? Oh, thank you. You're not so bad yourself. Let's see if it put a comment up if it works. Oh, there we go. Look, yeah. So yeah, it's quite snazzy, this one. I don't know how to put my own intro there yet, but I will figure it out. Adrian, how you doing? Hey, Ned, how are ya? That's okay, mate. It doesn't matter. Don't worry. Cool. I'm glad I can see the chat and everything. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with Gnomy Gnomes. I'm still trying to work this out. I literally downloaded it last night. Hey, Barbie, how you doing? Lovely to see you. Nomi, where are you? So I don't know how to put a guest on or anything. I've sent him the invite thing, and I think he has to download something. But it says studio loading. Has anyone else ever used EV Mux? Hey, Afila, how you going? Hope you're behaving yourself. Hey, Journey, how are you? I started watching some of your stream the other day. Merrily, hello. Yeah, I don't usually come on at this time of day. I think it's quite a good time of day, though. I'm hoping that it's all right for everyone. I'm not sure what time it is in the US at the moment. Probably going into the evening. No, morning? Evening? Evening. I don't know. What time is it in Canada, Merrily? And can you all hear me okay? Early morning for you, Adrian, right? You're in the UK, aren't you, I think? 5 a.m. Yeah. Let me just see what Nomi's doing. How are you going? Let's see. 9 p.m. Okay, that's not too bad. But yeah, I like the quality of this. I think it looks quite good. Except it shows my roots up a little bit. Okay, while we wait for Nomi, I'm just going to talk about another, like a cult that I found out about the other day. I saw someone talking about it on Reddit. Actually, I'll try and find the post. That would be a good idea. Let me see. And my computer decided to just absolutely just shit itself and restart for no reason a minute ago. So hopefully it doesn't do that again. Let's see. Right. I saw somebody. No, it's not that one. I don't know. I can't find it. Anyway, I saw somebody talking about a cult and they were warning people and they said, yay, I'm jealous. I want white hair. And then it saved me a lot in hair dye. Somebody was talking about a cult on, I've got hair in my face. I've got the old menopause fan going and everything. Somebody was talking on the other day on Reddit about a starvation cult that they just escaped from in Kentucky. And it really was quite worrying. They were saying that they did like this 3-day fast, and then now they're doing a 7-day fast. And there's children in there, children with special needs. There's 20 of them in this, I think, like a trailer park in the middle of nowhere. And they are called, I don't know what Naomi's doing. They are called Open the Eyes of Your Heart. So they're all kind of like talking about, the world's there's gonna be an apocalypse and all of that stuff. And I've been looking at their channel. I haven't had enough time to look at it too much, but I just wanted to get the word out there about it. I'm going to make a short about it, maybe even make a video about it, because nobody seems to be talking about it. And I think it's like a worldwide thing. There seems to be people in Africa quite into it, in some African countries. And it's very worrying, especially if people are, dying of starvation and stuff, because there was that one where they were getting people to starve themselves in Kenya, which was linked to a cult in Australia, I believe. Where is it? Come on. I really want to find this result. Oh, you're there. Hello. Let's see. I can't see you. Where are you then? Oh, I don't get this bloody thing. So you're in the studio, Naomi. What? How do you do this? Hang on a minute. I don't see you in the studio. Add camera? No, I don't have another camera. Oh gosh. Oop. Oh, I don't know. Anyone know how to do Evie Mux? Oh gosh, hang on. Because normally you would pop up at the bottom. What's a speaker? You're not a speaker, you're a guest, aren't you? Oh dear. Hey As Crimson, hey MD Media. I'm just on a new streaming software and I'm trying to figure out how to add Nomi. Invite guest. I don't need to invite the guest because oh, there you are. Now you've popped up. Hello. Let's see if you come up. Hey. Hello.
My goodness gracious.
Woohoo, we got ya. For anyone who doesn't know who this is Nomi, and he has his own YouTube channel. He's great. He does you live off the grid, don't you? Pretty much you're living off the grid in Alaska.
Yep, I'm not like way far out of town, but I'm definitely off the grid and I'm definitely alive.
Yeah. Are you streaming off your phone?
Yeah, that's the only thing I have here is phone. I don't have like a computer or laptop.
Okay, I just can't hear you very well. Oh, it says Nomi's camera probably has low FPS, whatever that means. I think it's just the quality. I'm not quite sure.
You might be able to hear me better now.
Whoa, yes, I can definitely hear you better now. That's way better.
Across the room, so sorry about that.
That's all right.
Tell me if that still sounds okay.
Yes, that's fine. That's brilliant. I'm just seeing what somebody said because I was talking about another, like a cult. So enough of a commonly known situation. I'll read the comments afterwards. Oh, yeah. Sorry, here we go. Yeah. I was just talking about a starvation cult that I found in Kentucky. And Janie said there's nothing on that cult. That person might be the first person to speak out about it. Exactly, yeah. I need to do a bit more research on that and get that out there because it's important to spread awareness about these cults and everything. Anyway, welcome, Nomi. It's so nice to have you on here. I just put a little thing at the bottom for people to subscribe. It's at the Gnomestead. He has some great videos on how to make some cool hats and building all sorts of things and Alaskan life, which is amazing. What's the temperature like there now at the moment?
Right now it is 40 degrees Fahrenheit and raining.
Okay, that sounds delightful. Have you lived there all your life?
No, I've been here for last September was 16 years since I moved here, and in 16 years, this is the warmest winter I've ever experienced.
Wow,
by like a landfill.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Where did you live before that?
I grew up in the Philadelphia area. I spent the first 18 years of my life there, and then I moved to Denver for 18 years. Okay. Had a whole different there. Got married, divorced, and then I moved up here in 2008.
Yeah, right. Okay. Okay. Well, so we were going to come on today and talk about your experience in, I guess, would you call it a cult or like a high control group, maybe?
That I guess we should do a little bit of a disclaimer. In my opinion, from my experiences,
yeah,
Christianity is as big a cult as any other cult there is, if not bigger, mainly because of how behind the scenes it is and how unrecognized it is. It's just something that's automatically handed down generation to generation and accepted.
Yeah.
And to me, anything that someone believes on blind faith alone is stuck in a cult. Being a football, if you believe in a football team under blind faith or anything.
Yeah, yeah. So. But there's different like denominations and stuff, isn't there? So I don't know if it's a certain...
For people, yeah. Christianity basically has two main branches. One is Catholicism, which is what the Protestant faith, Martin Luther King movement came out of the Catholic Church because Martin Luther didn't like what the Catholic Church was doing. And then when you come off of the Catholic Church, they do their own thing, and then the Protestants started branching off and doing all this. So yeah, you have many different flavors of Christianity, many different flavors of Protestant Christianity.
Yeah.
I particularly, I'm a Generation X person, so I grew up in the 70s and 80s when what they referred to as the satanic panic was going on. The moral majority movement was big, as far as pastors like Jerry Falwell and such like that, who were, getting more involved in government and trying to get, the set up stuff like the National Day of Prayer and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
very conservative believing, the marriage between one man, one woman, no sex before marriage, all that, typical fundamentals.
So Sophia said it's the most established and least questioned group in general as far as Christianity is concerned. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's cool. We can talk about it. And yeah, disclaimer: we're not putting down anyone that is Christian or any beliefs or anything like that. We're just talking about your experience, and everyone experiences things in different ways. But you're happy to talk about some of the abuses you went through and how it affected you, maybe, if you're happy.
As far as abuses go, I don't think it was anything that was actual. I mean, looking back on it now, yes, it did have a effect on me like an abuse would, just with the things that were ingrained in from birth, basically. Like, you're taught in Christianity that if you deny God, you deny Jesus, Jesus will deny you before God, which means you're going to burn in eternal hell.
Yeah.
And it's not given like as an order, like you have to believe this. It's brought in stories, fun little things and songs and that thing.
So if you look up the the characteristics of a cult, right? If we read those out, and then we can see if there's any kind of, if you think that maybe there's similarities or whatever, maybe. I don't know. Let's see if I can work out this. I want to work out how to share a screen as well. So, because I literally downloaded this last night and I don't know what is going on. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's weird, isn't it? It's not very big. Hang on. Oh, this is different. What would that? Oh, no, we don't want it like that. How do you make it so the bloody spotlight? What does that mean? Oh, there we go. No, I can't see you. Let's see. So the main characteristics of a cult. So you've got charismatic leadership, excessive control. Us versus them mentality. So I think that would be exploitation. So like giving excessive time, money, or resources. Dogma and the absolute truth. Psychological manipulation. So like guilt and fear and shame. Groupthink. Isolation.
Absolutely.
Apocalyptic or grandiose beliefs. Recruitment and retention. So like aggressively recruiting, deceptive practices.
On the flavor.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you think you experienced all of those, or?
Yeah, not every flavor of Christianity is aggressively recruiting.
Oh, no. But do you think? I don't know. I don't even know what we. I've never interviewed anyone before, so I don't know.
No.
Do you want to say who it was that you were with, or not?
I basically grew up, like I said, in the fundamentalist moral majority Christian movement, which was like your Baptists and your I grew up around a lot of Mennonites. Basically, I guess we'll start from the very beginning.
Okay.
I was born a bastard in the moral majority Christian evangelical movement. My mother was a very sad widow who fell in love with a voice on the radio. Ended up going to that gentleman's church because he was a choir leader of the church that he was attending. So he was, had a position up there.
Yeah.
She fell in love with. He was married. They do what they do as far as the affairs and stuff. And along came me. Basically, my father was there when I was born, from what I understand, but left after that, after a confrontation with my sister, and never was in my life ever again.
Oh, wow.
So I was born a true bastard, which is, no father, and in the 60s and 70s, that still had a very large stigma with people, a single having a baby out of wedlock, especially in the church.
Yeah.
So my mother covered it up as much as she could, which is a whole other story in itself. Basically lied about me as far as who was my father was. Maybe not just necessarily lied, but just didn't say and let people assume.
Yeah. Okay.
So I lived sort of a double life. I lived a double life growing up as a kid. I had my father's name, but I wasn't allowed to refer to myself as my father's name around my mother's friends who were in the church. I was her name. But at school and everything, I was David Ward, my name. And I think when that particular issue really hit me was after my mother passed away, and I had sent a Christmas letter to a family friend that I hadn't spoke to in a long time, and I addressed it under my legal name, David Ward and Family. And these are people who I referred to as auntie and uncle that I was in my life since I can remember.
Yeah.
And not even thinking the letter that I got back for them from that Christmas is, that's beautiful. I'm not sure who you are, but your story with your family, God bless you. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That really, and that's one of the main root things that caused a lot of the issues that I'm having right now is the abandonment and the living a lie. Big lie.
Yeah.
Can't tell. It's embarrassing,
It's a lot of, so it sounds like you grew up with a lot of shame and I guess a bit of an identity crisis, maybe, because who are you meant to be,
I mean, that's basically Christianity changed you into a belief. You are born sinful. There's nothing you can do about it, even though that's not in the Bible. I've studied the Bible extensively, and that's one of the things that took me out of Christianity was actually reading the book instead of just the select passages pull out. But that's the thing is, like, when you're a young adolescent growing up and you have those natural urges that boys and girls do, that feel good because they should, you're told it's sinful. And what you're feeling and what you are, you're bad. You're bad. And you need this to not be bad anymore.
Wow. So when they said things like that, so sexual urges, basically, that was seen as, was it like when they say it was demons or something, or it's just sinful? Like, how far did they go?
Like like one of the passages in the Bible, in the Old Testament talks about do not commit adultery.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. If you don't want to commit adultery, don't adultery. It's a good thing. It's not bad. Well, Jesus, in his part of the Bible, took it a little bit further. It said not just the physical act of adultery is sinful, but if you think upon a woman that does not belong to you, it's sinful to go to hell. And something as simple as that will send you to hell.
Yeah, right. So was there a fear instilled in you at a young age of going to hell?
Yeah.
And how about like I guess so this would have been pretty controlling, maybe. How, like, to what kind of
Yeah.
degree were you controlled?
No, I
Like,
mean, they're controlling your thoughts and what you're, telling you what you think is bad, so you can't think that way. And this is how you not think that way, and
yeah.
it's a lot just your sexual urges, like it's all kinds of different things. If you just think it, it's bad.
What about like what you watched on TV and what books you read and things like that? Would it go that far or?
Yes, definitely. Well, see, my mother, because she was so embarrassed and afraid of being called out, plus with some mental issues that she had, she never went to church when I was growing. She would always send me, and her
Right.
version of church was where at home on TV, and that's where Liberty Baptist on Sunday morning came in with Jerry Falwell, the PTL Club. This is before the big Christian broadcasting was on.
Okay.
Churches were on Sundays and later, but there was some, but it was mainly Christian radio and Christian television that was
Yeah,
pumped into
right.
the house.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. What about did it affect your education at all or anything like that? Did you have to go to like a certain type of school or?
My education in one way, because what I did go to public school until I was in fifth grade, and then because of the influence of public school, I'm going to learn how to do drugs. I'm going to, people are bad. I can't be around, sinful people. That's
Yeah.
where the separation is in. And my mother did send me to a private Christian school, which I had to repeat fifth grade because their academic level was different from public school.
Right,
So
yeah.
I was behind
Yeah. Yeah.
fifth grade. Okay, the age that I fell in at the time, I could have been in either grade. It didn't matter, So it's not like I was a full year ahead of most people. But then after fifth grade, the school sort of was slowing down and winding down, and people weren't coming. They were switching curriculums, and it wasn't a very popular school to go to anymore.
Yeah.
So I did switch back to public school for 10th grade. And then when I got to my 11th grade year, because of the classes that I had in the private school, they told me the end of my 11th grade year that I wasn't going to be able to graduate because your Bible classes do not count as history. You need to take so many other classes because these classes don't work.
Right, okay.
So it did affect, changing
Yeah.
my life around. Just
And what about, so like, do you think it would have affected like your critical thinking as a child and stuff? If you're kind of, I don't know, were you
well,
told like,
most definitely.
sorry, you go.
Well, most definitely. Yeah. Because my critical thinking stuff, I mean, we had and have a total different mindset, just like Scientologists do. A total
Yeah.
different mindset, and even with language that we spoke, that it wasn't a secret language, but it was just words that we used and phrases that we used that only you understand as a Christian, like being saved by grace and, washed in the blood and this, stuff like that. We knew
Yeah.
what it meant. So as far as, and besides on top of that, our worldview on things like science, creation versus evolution. You're taught all about evolution in school, and that's the big thing with Christians is they need to bring creation back into schools. It's like, no, they don't. Not the way you want it. It's not science. There's no science to it at all. It's a story. It has
So
been
you
proven to be a story.
you were brought up to believe that to not believe in evolution, or?
Yes, I
Yeah.
was told that they're 6,000 years old, that Adam and Eve were the first people. God made Adam out of mud. He took
Okay.
Adam went to sleep, Adam's rib, and made a woman for a companion. And
I don't understand that stuff. Like, I don't know.
got kicked out of the garden.
I'm a big science believer, and I like, I know people believe it and stuff, but I can't get my head around that. I just don't get it. But yeah, I
The
don't
thing
believe
is,
anything.
coming from that, like I said, from birth, and that
Yeah,
stuff being instilled in me from birth, you accept it because you accept the people around you as trustworthy people that wouldn't lie to you.
exactly.
You know,
And then you're hidden
they're
from
not going
certain things. Yeah, like that. If you're only reading certain books and being educated in a certain way and watching certain things on TV, you are being conditioned to
to.
believe that, aren't you? You know, um,
Exactly.
which is similar to Scientology as well, I guess. You know, and similar with any. I mean, it comes across as very culty. I'm just going to say that. um, yeah,
I think that's why I fell into this beautiful community the way I did, because I understood people
right.
like Laura that have come out and what their mindset is, and I can see where I was when I came out as a lot of my mental thinking that I'm still trying to get over today.
Yeah.
And I'm never in Scientology, but like I said, according to the path that I took through it, it was every bit as much of a cult.
Yeah.
So.
I think a lot of us are here for the same reason, and also, with the trauma aspect, and you just hear people talking about their experiences, and you're like, oh my god, it's just so relatable, and a lot. I mean, I've always said,
Well,
I've been trying to speak up for years and talk about my trauma and what I've been through and how it's made me feel, and people just don't know how to react, and they're just sort of, oh, stop whinging, or like they just kind of look at you kind of like, I don't know what to do with that. And then you come into this community and you've got people that you can actually talk things through and have a laugh about it even sometimes, and people just seem to get it.
I liken it to waking up one day in a foreign country where everyone speaks a completely different language that you do, and they
Yeah.
don't understand you, barely understand them. And that's what
Yeah.
it was for me. I mean, 30 years of a belief system that I just lovingly accepted, because the backbone of Christianity, Jesus' teachings, the main teachings, the Beatitudes, they're beautiful things to live by. It's a good way to live and treat people.
Yeah.
It's not the hell and brimstone that everybody, portrays it out to be. His
Yeah.
basic teachings I still hold, not as truth, but, think good things to live by, do unto
Yeah.
others, don't hoard all your money if, you see someone in need, I mean,
Love thy
money ain't
neighbor.
going to get you to heaven. Yeah, love thy neighbor, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the nearest I got to it was, I think, growing up my mum, I don't know, I remember my mum going to church on Sundays sometimes and going to like Easter. Do you have mass on Easter?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She used to go to church at Easter. Oh, you smoke a pipe. That's really cool. You smoke a pipe. Let me see your pipe. Can I see your pipe? Everything, you're so pixelated. That's cool. It's nice to see someone smoking a pipe. I don't know why, because it seems like it's quite old
I
fashioned,
got
isn't it? you know.
This is a more fancy one. I'll see this one.
Ooh,
This one's up now.
snazzy. But yeah, I think I used to go to Sunday school, but I'm not sure if that's just because my mum wanted to get rid of us for a bit. But I remember her going to church sometimes. But yeah, she definitely
Vacation
doesn't do
Bible
that.
school.
Not not really. I don't know. Sunday school. I think we used to
Well,
do a
vacation
couple
Bible
of Bible-y things.
usually
Yeah.
happens. They'll have like a whole week. It'll be special themed. And
Oh
you'll
no.
go every day for.
Oh no, we didn't do. We just used to go on a Saturday or a Sunday for a couple of hours and do some crafting and maybe talk a bit about a couple of passages or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just never. Yeah. She's the opposite now. She's kind of, well, not opposite, but she's a into the Wiccan, pagan kind of. She's a witch basically. I think she got to like high
Hey,
priestess at one point. Um, yeah,
do thou wilt and harm none.
yeah,
If Wicca works for you, you are not harming anyone, and it brings you peace. Go for it.
yeah. No, she's very like about it's the. I don't really know a lot about it. I'm totally atheist, not into anything. Just believe in science and what I see. You know, if I believe it, I'll see. If I see it, I'll believe it. But you know, God is the earth and goddesses and weird stuff. I don't know, nature and things. I don't really know.
Representation. Here's a fun fact. I mean, I don't know if you ever had outhouses in Australia or anything, but you go to the traditional outhouse where you see with the moon on the door. You know,
Yeah,
people go outside and they go in.
yeah. I mean, I'm originally from Britain. I'm British, but I've lived out here nearly 15 years. So yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
So you know what that moon? Why there's a moon on the door?
I don't actually.
Well, it goes back to the ancient beliefs of the moon represents the female and the sun represents the male. So actually, at one point, they had two outhouses instead of a little guy and a little girl in a dress and a guy, standing there. It was a sun and a moon, boys and girls. And since guys can go piss on a tree, pardon my French, but that's what we do. We use the outhouse that much, so it just, it got over time. It got transitioned down to just the moon.
Yeah, right. So, you go. So you just go in there for a number 2. Oh dear!
I lost the outhouse. Do outhouse trivia a different day.
Okay. You did. Oh, so I've got some Aussies in here. So Mad says, I don't think we usually had a moon. I've seen that a few times, Mad, like the proper old ones. You know, yeah, I've definitely seen that. You'll probably
I didn't know if that was an American.
Maybe didn't notice it, and then you might notice it now. I don't know. Let's have a look at some of the comments. So, Barbie says, "Oh God, why has it got a timer on it? I think the comments go away after 10 seconds or something. I feel under pressure now. As a child, I went to a fire and brimstone church. Oh no, it's gone. There we go. See? Oh, I've got to sort that out. That's no good. The preacher scared me talking about hell and sin, etc. Then people started rolling around on the floor and talking in tongues. Well, that's yeah." So I've been trying to look into this because I thought the talking in tongues, I thought that was charismatic Christianity or something. You see a lot of
more
yeah,
Pentecostal movement.
Okay.
Yeah, Pentecostal movement is the spirit-filled Pentecostal, they call it. When you're spirit-filled, you can speak in tongues. I can still speak in tongues if I wanted to. It's been studied well enough. I forget the name of it, but it's a psychological process that your brain is going through. And basically, you are in a deep hypnotic trance, and you're able to do it.
Okay. Strange. And then I've heard other people saying it's the tongue, it's the devil coming into you and coming out in tongues. You know, so there's all different points of view.
See, that's the thing is, saying anything that people fear, Christianity belief seizes upon that and uses that, because the best way to keep people unified is by having a common enemy.
Yeah.
Be that common enemy another person, another belief system. That person look just like me, talk just like me, believe in the same Messiah that I believe in, but they believe in speaking in tongues. The Bible doesn't say we still speak. So and it's all up to interpretation.
Yeah. So when you do the tongues and stuff, sorry to laugh, but I just think it's so weird. So when you do the tongues and stuff, are you up on a stage and things, or how does it come about?
Well, the pastor.
Is it what's the purpose of it?
It starts with a music build up. You get into the praise and worship stuff. And I think I sort of mentioned this a little bit before when you were getting into the hypnosis type stuff. The music is very in the worship service as far as bringing people into that trance state. And when they get into that trance state, you can get so deep into that trance state, and that's where you get to that place. Because when I would get into the speaking in tongues things, I could feel it. It was a place that I could go that brought me utter peace. I was protected. I was surrounded by angels, God, whatever you want to call it. So it's a state of mind.
Yeah.
And Christianity isn't the only one that does it. There's some Hindus religions that do it. Just other different cultures. It's just something strange, and it's a whole rabbit trail itself as far as why our brain does that and what it's doing, this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, music can put you into an emotional state, can't it? You know, especially depending on the type of music. You know, you really do feel music through your whole body. I think I do anyway. I know my dad certainly did, because he was a classical composer and he was autistic, and you could see the music in him. It was, you know, so I think the build up of that, and then the power of suggestion as well, of all the beliefs and stuff, would definitely make you feel something. Yeah.
I don't think like band members, like people that are in like rock and roll bands, even just like play bars and stuff. They talk about that, is how they can manipulate and control the emotion of the crowd just by the beat of the drum.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts. I mean, have a basic beat and a dance that they do as far as, you know, their cultural stuff goes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Repetitiveness. And once you repeat after me, and you know, lyrics are repetitive. You know, you have a chorus that you repeat after so many different things. You know, music is one of the most hypnotic things that we put ourselves through naturally, almost on a daily basis. That's where our favorite song comes up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then you notice on the radio stations where they play the same bloody songs over and over. I've always wondered whether they're trying to, like, I don't know, well, make money, because you get it stuck in your bloody head and then you'll go and buy that record or whatever. Well, don't even buy records anymore, but you know what I mean. So, but I wrote some notes and stuff. I did write some notes that I was going to ask you. So would you be shamed publicly? Like, say, if you were accused of doing one of these things that is sinful, or you had a thought or whatever. I mean, how would they know what your thoughts are? I don't know. Would they put you up on the stage and shame you in front of people?
No, not in the flavors of Christianity that when I was in, that does occur. In a lot of different beliefs of Christianity denominations, that's part of theirs. I would say not in the majority, but where that shaming comes in is when they do that altar call, where the pastor works you up throughout the service, you know, and what did you do this week that's, you know, weighing on your heart that you need to bring to the altar, you know, and then the guilt, you know, oh my gosh, I thought about Jenny, you know, in a bad way. And I need, you know, I sinned this week, you know, even though I'm forgiven, I need to, you know, go up there and profess my sins, you know, not necessarily in public to people, even though that's what you're doing, but you need to profess your sins to Jesus.
To, like, cleanse yourself, kind of. Yeah. So it's like overts and withholds, kind of. Right.
And that's where that, you know, that one not protest, but vigil that you were at, and you guys decided to sing Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace, the song, is one of the major songs that they use to get people to go to the altar. So I think you remember I said, don't sing that song, but, you know, if you don't know, you don't know. So it's, you know, it's.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a beautiful song, and it certainly gets the hairs on my arms sticking up anyway, you know. It is a beautiful song, and
It's supposed hypnotic effect. That is exactly what that song is supposed to do. It's supposed to tickle your heartstrings and get the emotions going, because that's what they're feeding off of. They're not being, you know, people aren't following facts and logic. They're following a belief and what their heart says. And if you feel like it's real and feel it, the bigger the feeling, the more real it is.
Yeah. It's just amazing to me, as I've never had a faith or anything, and just putting all your trust in all of this. I don't know, just putting all your trust in a faith, I guess. Having faith. I don't know. I've never done it. Sometimes I think I wish I could, because I know it does help a lot of people.
Yeah. It fills in that gap because we tend to fear the unknown. As a species, we have evolved to fear the unknown. If we don't know what's on the other side or out in those woods, well, if we don't go out there, we're not going to die, or we're not going to get hurt, or we're not going to get lost. Unknown out there. The whole myths behind, like in the Scottish and Irish and Celtic traditions about the fairies and them coming and taking the baby and replacing it with, a baby that was sick. It was an excuse. It's never your fault, the fairies did it, or this did it, or that did it, because they didn't know what caused those ailments and issues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if we don't know, it's on it. And once you start obsessing on something, you need that answer. So.
Yeah, right. Okay. And did you have to do? Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask, like, do you have to do like tithing, where you have to pay 10% of your wages or anything?
It is not required, but it is insinuated that yes, good Christians tithe 10%. And what I was basically taught, where it wasn't just 10% of your income, it was 10% of your time, so giving back to the church. Be it going there and vacuuming the food on Saturdays, or doing a Sunday school class, or whatever it is. Now, if you get into denominations like the Latter-day Saints or the Mormons, they require it. And if you are part of the church, they and they deduct it, and it's like that. Even when I worked for a mega church in Denver for about 6 years, and even when I worked for the mega church, it was to get written off my taxes. I had to put on a film if I'm giving cash, just to get credit for my taxes. But I could anonymously give. They didn't check. They just assumed that I was being a good Christian and giving back to the church.
So hang on a minute. You just said you worked in a mega church. So like, what did you have to do? Is that so? So for people who wouldn't know what a mega church is, can you explain, please?
A mega church is basically a church that's upwards of 800 to 1,000 people minimum,
right,
and beyond. Like in your area, you're familiar with the Hillsong Church. That's a mega church.
Right.
Where, Hillsong.
Mad, you might know this, but wasn't ScoMo with the Hillsong Church? So our Prime Minister, the last Prime Minister, I think, I don't pay attention to politics either. I think he was in the Hillsong or something, and possibly Justin Bieber.
Tied to it, it's not in it. He was.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah. So they so the mega churches and stuff. Do they go on TV and things like that sometimes, preaching and stuff?
We had the pastor didn't have a TV show. He did have a radio broadcast that he did every day, every afternoon. So he had a radio studio on site. They did a lot of theatrical type productions and recorded it for ourselves, and different kinds of things. Started out, I was I went to that church for about 10 years. I worked for that church for about 6 years as a building superintendent. I took care of the place, helped build additions on the building, and this, that, and the other thing.
Okay.
And at the same time, I was doing missionary work. We had a family of Navajos that lived down on the reservation. He was a pastor, him and his wife, and we'd go serve a couple times a year, help bring clothes to the community and fix the place up. And so I did missionary work for probably about 10 years in that aspect.
Yeah, right. Okay. And did they have, was there kind of a belief in like an apocalypse or anything like that? Like there's going to be the end of the world.
Definitely there's apocalypse. One of the things about, the end times is some of your churches believe in what's called the, I just had it on the tip of my tongue, where we're all caught up in the air and we don't have to go through the rapture, okay? There's people that believe in what's called the rapture. Is all of a sudden one day, all the people that believe, poof, we're gone. We're just going to be a bunch of clothes sitting on, and cars are going to crash all over the place because nobody's driving them anymore, and this, that, and the other thing.
Wow.
And then the apocalypse happens. But then there's also ones who believe that we as Christians are going to live through that apocalypse, but the apocalypse is still going to happen because that's what the book of Revelation says. There's going to be so many years of famine and pestilence and plague. When the seals are open, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And the interesting thing about that kind of stuff is there's nothing in that book that exactly says anything particular, but it's enough that you can manipulate it to say what you want, which ends up getting it to the same end goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. It just all seems bonkers to me. I'm sorry. So I'm just going through questions. So what about so we said education, apocalypse, was it like miracles and stuff, like magical thinking? So say were they against instead of going to the doctor, you can heal it yourself through prayer and things like that?
Not any of the denominations that I went to particularly. Where the mega church that I went to, his biggest thing was psychology related.
Okay.
How your mental issues are rooted in sin that you haven't confronted and dealt with in your life.
Right.
All mental medications are bad. So you don't take any kind of mental medications. You don't need that. All you need is prayer.
Why?
Meditation.
Why were they afraid? Why were they afraid of that? Is it just because it's seen as mind altering by chemicals, or what was the?
Yeah, it's not natural. It's science controlling people, basically.
So anti-science, basically.
Yeah, not. I mean, not outright anti-science, like saying science. Like Scientology says, all psychologists, or this and this. It was insinuated.
Yeah.
People that were Christians that were scientists that went to school for biology and all kinds of stuff that did not believe in evolution, and they just took that part of their belief system out so it would fit in with Christianity.
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to say sorry. I get distracted by the chat. Not Jenny, Journey. I think that's what you were talking about anyway. Journey. Sorry, I'll just go through the chat again because I don't want to lose all the questions because I don't have anyone backstage starring stuff because I can't work it out. In fact, actually, Mad, you're meant to be. Yeah. Are you a mod? Because I can't see wrenches or anything in this chat. It's so weird.
Mad should be. Who else is a mod in yours? I don't know who's a mod in yours, but I know Mad's a mod in yours.
Mad Drop Bear usually is, but I can't see any wrenches in this chat. I don't really like it. I'm gonna have to get used to it. Initially, the songwriter wrote "Amazing Grace" as a message about their reflection on the sacrifice that was made, even for those who didn't deserve it. Sounds deep. Yep. Okay. I'm sorry if I'm laughing at any of this. I'm just for me, it's just really, it's weird for me. Sorry if I'm offending anyone by laughing at it. I'm not meaning to offend people. That's just the way I react to it because I don't know. I don't know. It's just not for me, I guess. Yeah.
Hey, that's fine. I look back and laugh now like, what the hell was I thinking?
But, you know? For some people, it works for them and it improves their life and it's good to have something to believe in, I guess. I mean, maybe I need something to believe in. Maybe that's why I'm fucked up. I don't know. Who knows? I'm alive. Becky says, hello, Becky, and I hope you're doing well. I'm alive by a miracle. The doctor told me so. Reality is heaven. Doesn't, oh my God, I've got to sort that timer out. Doesn't want me and hell is afraid I'll take over. Yeah, right. I bet you would take over, mate, as well.
First, I've been thinking about you. I haven't seen you in any of the chats. I miss you being around. It's so good to see you in here.
Yeah.
Love you.
I don't know what the hell is going on, Nomi and everyone. I am so over all the drama, but I do end up going in chats and getting sucked in and getting emotional because I don't know. I am a very impulsive person due to my ADHD, and I get in and then it all gets too much, and I go out of the chat and I'm like, fuck, I wish I didn't make that comment, and then I just go and lay in bed for like 2 hours, like, ugh. I need to stop going in chats and getting involved, and I just want everyone to get along, I really do. You've got so many different personalities. We're not all going to get on, are we? But I am at the same time. I don't like seeing people being abused, and I don't know. Anyway, okay. So Bieber's father was into a mega church. I thought that was the case. I remember seeing when he was younger, he used to talk about the Jesus and stuff a lot. There are usually churches that come out of the charismatic church movement and became popularized by famous American churches like Lakewood. How do you know all this stuff, Matt? I didn't know you knew all these things. Random stuff.
Yeah, Lakewood song.
Lakewood what, sorry? I lost you there, you broke up a bit.
Lakewood, the American version of Hillsong.
Oh, okay.
Big mega church, prosperity type movement, and those are what we refer to as the prosperity preachers. Give us money, we'll give it to God. God will bless you. Yada yada yada. Speak in tongues a little bit, flop around a little bit. There you go.
Do they do a thing where, what's it called? Slaying or something, don't they? What's that all about? And what's that?
It's mass hypnosis. It is giving control over your mind to that person in front of you. And with the power of suggestion, without touching the person, they can make you fall over. You see the hand coming towards you, and you automatically, whoa! And it is something that I have physically experienced, didn't understand it at the time, and just, let myself go for that to happen. But basically, it all comes down to hypnosis. It's mass hypnosis. When you see all those people falling down by the preacher, waving his hand over the crowd, that is real. That is a real effect that's going on in those people. Now, some of the people may be caught up in the crowd because you got enough people falling in front of you, you're going to go down too. Otherwise. But as far as it's real. It happens.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to bring you on, because I want to understand. I want to try to talk to someone who's been through it, because I just find it so bizarre. But that's a really interesting explanation, and it makes sense, because I've watched loads, especially in African countries and stuff. Another thing that fascinates me is the black magic that goes on in Africa, like how they really believe it. Like certain animal parts and all these things that are supposed to bring you wealth and good luck, and they do the whole falling down thing.
Just like many of our modern beliefs that we have now, if you look deep enough into it, even the people in that area will tell you that 20 years ago, there weren't any. I mean, there were medicine people that believed in this plant helps you with this and this plant helps you with that. And that's what the roots of Wicca is in, is plant medicine.
Chinese medicine has been around for thousands of years. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so interlinked because we've learned over the years what works. You take this plant, it might feel better. You take this one, it might make you sick. You take this one and they make you feel weary. All different kinds of stuff. But as far as it goes, that type of witchcraft and stuff where they're doing the child sacrifice and stuff now, that's just recent within the last 10, 15, 20 years. And again, that is in a response to years of obsessive Christianity telling you that's evil, that's wrong. And if you have a culture that has thought a different way for 2,000 years, and that's instilled in their culture, and you all of a sudden have a new people group coming in saying, no, You didn't know, but now you know. And now that you know, you got to.
Yeah.
So in a rebellion, Satanism is the Church of Satan is a direct consequence of Christianity saying that's wrong. People are doing this. Well, if you tell a child that they're a liar when they're not long enough, eventually they're going to start lying.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Don't know about my son though. He just doesn't. He can't lie. Mind you, he has been telling a few porcupines a little bit lately, but just little white lies. But if I was to call him a liar, he'd cry. Like, bless him. But yeah, he's finding it really offensive. Yeah. Um, quite rightly so. Bless his heart. What else have I got here? I've got so shamed publicly, tithing, apocalypse, education. So they're not like anti going to the doctors, just anti kind of psych meds, kind of, because you can pray.
Yeah, and like I said, that was just the particular church that I went to. Not all churches believe that.
No, they're all different. Yeah, just your experience. Yeah, yeah. And so did I ask? Did they believe it? Did you like miracles and stuff? I don't know, like, yeah. That's kind
To
of
an
like
extent, with the miracles and the display in your spirit, which is sort of they're intertwined. As far as miracles go, I've experienced, what's a miracle? So, a miracle is something that happens that you cannot explain.
right.
It could be perfectly logical, and sometimes the most simplest answer is the answer, but we can't accept that simple answer. Hence, God did it. It's a miracle. As far as healings go, I have seen healings to a certain extent where people did change because of the power of the mind.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've also seen people whose vision was restored, even though all they did was they needed reading glasses. But their vision was restored. But then 6 months later, they're back to wearing their glasses. Like it wore off. It was never long lasting. Put it that way.
I wonder if that could be something to do. Like, have you ever read up on the placebo effect and how powerful it is and how far it can go? You know, I wonder if, like, I read a book. My dad gave me this book once when I was younger, and there was a story in it about somebody who had an operation, you know, and they told him that he'd had the pain, the what do you call it, anesthesia or something, but he hadn't had it, and they were doing like a full-on operation, like cut him open and everything, and he didn't feel it, and they were saying it was the placebo effect, and I'm like, what? That's crazy. But it kind of makes sense because it is a part in your brain, isn't it? Like your pain, you know, like when you really, you can have like a car accident or something, you really injured yourself and you don't feel it until you see it, you look at it, and then you're like, and then you start feeling all the pain. So I'm wondering if it's kind of like that, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And
yeah,
I keep saying this thing, but it's back to that hypnotic effect and the power of the brain, the power of suggestion.
Yeah,
you're not going to blood gushing from a gaping wound or restore a limb that's been cut off, but you may be able to stop someone by saying, take this pill, or I'm going to touch you and God will take the pain away.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah. God will take the pain away. You are healed.
Oh, I wonder if that's like home. The same with touch assists. Did you see that video me and Miriam and Lara did like a week or so ago, and we were talking about, you know, the past lives things or whatever, and then they did the touch assist and they're going like this. Like, touch the microphone. I'm like, what? But you have to be, I guess you have to want to receive all of that, don't you? Like, I feel like if I had sort of hypnosis or something like that, because I am so, honestly, so skeptical. I don't know where it comes from. I do not believe in anything, you know, and even my own mum's told me that she's seen a ghost. My grandmother told me she had seen the same ghost. So they're obviously not lying. They've both seen this same ghost. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't think they're lying. I believe they saw that. but until I see it, I won't believe it. Um, yeah. Anyway, I kind of feel
I've
left
got
out.
I've experienced things like that on the Navajo reservation, with things that I cannot explain. I liken it to, it's maybe possibly things that you want to see. If you think, like, if you stand in a dark room and you think loud enough or think hard enough that a noise is coming from a ghost rather than that mouse walking across the room,
Yeah,
that
definitely.
our brain makes those connections because our brain's very resourceful. It jumps over certain areas, and like it won't say, you go A, B, C, D. It'll go from A. We already know B and C, so we go from A to D and
Yeah,
automatically assume.
yeah.
You get a lot of that in, you know, Sasquatch sighting, UFO
Yeah,
sighting.
and like ghost hunting things where they go around with the thingies listening for noises and that. It's all BS. That's what I reckon anyway. I just don't believe in it. I want to see something that's going to change my mind. I really do. I really want to see something, but I just haven't so far. It's all this.
Well,
It's
I
all
can.
set up in a stage. Like you say, you're in the dark and you've got. It's the power of suggestion, isn't it? It's actually a lot bigger than some people realize. I guess it's huge.
I don't tell a lot of my stories like that because some people think you're crazy when you tell them. But a friend of mine, Dale, and myself, we were two of the main leaders that would take groups down to the Navajo reservation to serve. The pastor and his wife had just moved to this new area, and the native people who were against the church and white people and colonization with what they had done over the years were very
Yeah.
anti-Christian, especially if you were a native that's a Christian. So
Okay.
then it was the spiritual battles going on, right? The Christians are over here, the witch doctors are over here. But anyway, we were down there, and we had been, for a couple of days, the pastor had been talking about all the weird stuff that had been going on, like shadow people appearing in their house when the house was completely locked up. They could
Yeah.
see them in the window, and then when they went in the house, there was nobody in the house. But they know what they saw because the whole family saw it.
Yeah. Right. That's creepy.
So anyway, we were separated because boys and girls have to be separated when you're in group stuff and you're out camping like that. So the girls were sleeping in this one building and the boys were all sleeping in the church. And behind the church there was a set of outhouses. So if you had to go to the bathroom, you had to go to the outhouses. So there was no running water at that particular place.
Yeah.
Well, we were because so many weird things were going on that especially at night no one would go outside by themselves just for a general safety thing because there was young teenagers around that, didn't like us being there and they saw what we were doing. And, if they had the opportunity, they would, possibly do something. So
Yeah.
Dale and I just, I said, I got to piss. Let's go outside. Like, all right, I got you. We both walk outside together and halfway, the outhouse was probably about 100 yards to the back of the church. And the moon was out enough and it looked like there was a giant rock sitting in the middle of the trail leading up to the outhouse. And I'm thinking while I'm walking up to this, that's weird. I don't remember that rock being there. And as soon as
Okay.
I said that, that rock stood up, turned into a human being shadow type shape. The arms turned into wings, and it flew straight up as fast as that.
What?
And
What
I
the?
looked, okay, I looked at Dale next to me, and he looked at me at the same time, and we both had that. Did you just see what I just saw? And he saw the exact same thing.
Wow. Okay.
Why?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff surprised me today. Why did we, other than mass hypnosis, power of suggestion, and for some reason we were connected in what we were thinking and our fears of going outside and what we thought.
Yeah, that's weird. That's creepy. But I love looking into that and trying to find a reason why and stuff. Like people will see like a ball of light is a common one that people see. They see it in photos, or they've seen it in real life. They've seen a ball hover somewhere and then disappear and fly off, right? And one explanation I found was ball lightning. If you look that up, like that phenomena of ball lightning and stuff like that. Like, but I love looking into things like that and trying to disprove things. I've always had a mind where I like to look at things from all different directions and all angles, and yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to me. I can't just believe something straight up.
When I came out, I understand.
Sorry, that was we on the old shrooms way, you know me.
Brian, with the magic mushroom, have done that many a time. I was a Christian at the time, so I was not on any kind of mind-altering drug. I was straight. Like, when I was I didn't do anything. I was married. I had kids. I ran a business. That was my priority.
Yeah.
I'd like to comment on, because I've seen things on hallucinating drugs. I've actually, when came out, I wanted to understand what happened to me, why I believe that kind of stuff. And the simple answer is, again, it came down to power of suggestion. What I was suggested throughout my life became reality to me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I went into a deep dive and the whole 9 yards. And because I grew up in a ritualistic type setting with Christianity, it's very ritualistic, no matter how, it doesn't necessarily have to be, the whole pomp and circumstance like with the Catholic or the Episcopal Church, which is, the incense and the big costumes, this, that, and the other thing. But it's still ritualistic. You show up to some place as a group. You participate in an activity as a group. You sing as a group. You pray as a group. The pastor looks at the group and says, bow your head, close your eyes. Boom. You're in a hypnotic trance. The power of suggestion is going on. At the end of the service, you wake. The music build. They start off with high upbeat music, and they really get you charged up and into it, and then they bring it down. They slow it way down. And everybody's got their eyes closed and their arms up, all hypnotized.
Oh my God!
Loving every minute, because you are in ecstasy. It's an amazing feeling. I miss it. I really do.
Going to a concert. You could go to a concert, maybe. I don't know, something like that. There's other ways to get that high.
Well, I like to say I was in the church for 40 years. But I was actually in the belief system for 40 years. In my high school years, 10th grade through probably the age of 23, I walked away from it. I still had the beliefs, and I knew that just as long as right before I died, I asked Jesus to forgive me, I'd be okay. And I got into drugs a lot. I went to a lot of concerts, in my high school years. A lot of good big bands, Pink Floyd, all the big name bands back in the day. Music has always been a big part of my life. So yes, like the Grateful Dead like to say, is you go to a Grateful Dead concert, it's not a concert, this is church. And it is. It's church for a lot of people. It's that connection, that group feel. That's church, that's what the word church means, gathering of people. It's not a building. It's not a tabernacle or a temple. Church, in the original Hebrew, means to get together, gather.
Yeah, right. Okay. I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, and I guess like after when you come out as well, you would have that euphoric feeling that would last a while as well, or I don't know. I've never.
You might have the euphoric feeling, but generally by the time you pull out of the parking lot, after you've been cussing it, now you cuss at the people that tried to cut you off as you're getting out of the parking lot because you got to get to the buffet before the line gets too long. It's all gone by then, and you completely forget what the pastor even said.
Yeah,
but it's still there. You're just it's like as soon as you walk out of the doors, you're out of that trance. The trance is over.
Yeah, okay. I wonder if that's part of the hypnosis, isn't it? Like it happened while you were in the
Yep.
hypnotic state. I mean, I've heard people, I don't know if you saw me talking about that, the Scientology spin-off group in Australia called Kenja. And there was this woman, because I
Yep.
haven't done my part 3 yet. There's this woman, and she said, like, all of the years that she was in that group, she can barely remember any of it since she like woke up. Well, they call it
Yep.
waking up, don't they? When you come to that realization that this is all BS. And when was your wake up moment? When did you think, when did you decide
Here's
like this is bullshit and I want to get out of it? What made you? Was it a slow realization, or was there one particular event that happened?
it. It culminated with one particular event, but it was something that happened over a few years.
Okay.
I was living up in Telkeet, a little village about an hour north of me. I had broken up with the girl that I thought was the love of my life, so I was in that devastated state. I needed answers, and I cried out to God because that's the only thing that I knew to do.
Yeah. Your
At
support
that
system.
time, when I did, I heard an audible voice surrounding me. It wasn't my voice, that voice in my head. This was something that was all-encompassing that said,
Yeah.
"Are you ready to serve me now?" And I was like, and no,
Are
Brian, I
you
wasn't on
ready?
mushrooms that night.
Are you ready to what? Sorry, you're breaking
Are
up a
you
bit.
ready? No. And when I heard, "Are you ready to serve me now?" I knew that was God's voice, and I knew that I had been living a sinful life. At the time, I was living with a witch. At the time, that's who broke my heart was someone who actually practiced witchcraft. And we got
Okay.
into discussions about beliefs, and then it sort of it severed us because I still had my root beliefs, and she always had hers. Anyway, that's a story for another day. So I'm wandering around Talkeetna because I heard the voice of God, and I'm looking for a real experience. And everything I had up to that point was much more straight. This was before my speaking in tongues days. This was entering that time of my life. Because growing
Yeah.
up, it was like, yes, you speak in tongues, but we don't talk about it. Not everybody does it. It's not, da 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 da. So I was like, all right, whatever. So the only churches that I found in that area were actually small groups that were part of the charismatic Pentecostal type movement.
Okay.
So I got into those, but I actually ended up, because I was so hungry for anything, that on Sundays I would go to the Baptist church in the morning. I'd go to a different church in the afternoon. I'd go to a different church in the evening. One, because they all had food. I could get a free meal on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
But it was all different. It was all different experiences, right? And I was out witnessing to people because I was witnessing to the downtrodden, because all my friends at the time, when I was coming back into Christianity, were alcoholics, drug addicts, living rough, just had hard life, hard life.
Yeah.
And I wanted to reach out to them,
Yeah.
and that's what I tried to do. I got connected with a gentleman who moved up here. Him and his wife, they moved up here from Missouri, and it was he was fresh out of seminary, so he was a brand new pastor, and they took over a small church on the other side of the river from Talkeetna over in Trapper Creek. I needed a place to stay because with that breakup, I had lost where I was living. Wintertime was coming on, which I'm fine in the summertime living in a tent, but I'm not going to live in a tent all winter. So he invited me over to his church because it was him and his wife living at the church. They had a small congregation. They said, come stay in the basement. We can study together, because we were studying along the same lines and the same belief system stuff. And
Yeah.
he and I and his really got deep into the scriptures as far as what does this really mean by, okay, this is what it says. Different translations say different things. What does the Hebrew say? And that's where both of us, over a series of a couple of years, really started having some serious questions about what we were reading in the book and what it was saying. Plus, we saw all the hypocrisy that was going on around us,
Yeah.
especially in that Pentecostal movement. with all the miracle workers and people coming in and basically, you know, they were charlatans. They were liars, and they were feeding off of people that had that heartache in their life, whether it be a lost
Yeah,
loved
right.
one or a partner, whatever. And they're trying to stand up and speaking out against that thing. This guy's a fraud. This guy's a fraud. And this is what the Bible says. So he and I weren't well liked in the general overall Christian community, because it's okay if we attack sinners, but don't attack people within the church, even though they may believe a little bit different, still our
Yeah.
people. And if you attack people, you know, we're going to go with our people rather than these two crazy preachers that are living in a church with a, you know, by themselves. So anyway, I spent a year with him and his wife at that church, and then I got a caretaking job for a lodge, and I spent a year with me and my dog by myself in a lodge, taking care of this lodge, making sure the heater stayed running so it didn't freeze up in the wintertime. So it gave me a lot of time for study, prayer, meditation, and I really started getting into the Word a lot and understanding more. I still wasn't reading the in between the line stuff. I was reading those main passages that are used. I was reaching out online, witnessing to people, preaching online. I know I was an asshole about it, because I know what that, I can see that now, you know, and why it turned so many people off. But I was referred to locally as a John the Baptist of the community.
Okay.
I was there preparing the way for, very charismatic. You know, people listened to what I had to say, this, that, and the other thing. And it got to the point where it had a very small congregation that was meeting at the lodge that I was staying at, because it was a big open building. I'm like, we need a place to gather. There says someone's house, I've got this lodge. I've got permission. Let's meet here. So at that time, it was spring, and the Easter season was upon us, and I was following people that, sorry if I'm going down a bunch of different trails, but they believed in what was called the Hebrew roots movement, which is a form of Christianity that believes more in the Jewish tradition, because Jesus was a Jew. He was not a Christian. Jesus didn't follow the Bible. He followed the Torah. He practiced the Jewish practices, even the sacrifices at the temple. And that was their whole thing, was what you're doing is pagan, even though you say you worship Jesus. Jesus was a Jew. So that's where I was at that point in my mindset. So I had about 25 coming over for Passover right before Easter, right? So it's a very important holiday both for Christianity and for Jews. You've got Passover and you've got the you know, Jesus rising again. So my study along those lines was I wanted to share with people how Jesus related to the Passover of the Old Testament and how they connected and why we needed Jesus as a sacrifice. Okay. I did have when I was there, and I had been online and I used YouTube a lot for, you know, a lot of my study and stuff, you know, to help guide me, you know, get me down, you know, study a different topic and stuff like that. And just all of a sudden up on the screen came up a thumbnail that says Jesus the man versus Jesus the lamb. And I'm like, that's right along the topic that I'm about to teach on. Click. That was Wednesday, and I was supposed to teach on Friday night. That video was two guys that had come out of Christianity after going down that same Hebrew roots movement, and they laid out in the Bible in plain sight how it is totally impossible for Jesus to be who the Christians say he is as far as the blood sacrifice goes. God made rules. The Torah are the rules. If you put Jesus into the rules, it doesn't match. Jesus can't be what they say he is as far as a sin sacrifice. Impossible. And it went off. Oh, crap. And I looked, and I prayed, and I looked all over the Bible, and I cross-referenced everything they were saying. And now I'm at this point where I'm 2 days out of teaching this message, and my whole belief system, I still believed in God, but I didn't believe Jesus was who they said he was. What do I do?
Head fuck, yeah.
Can't lie. So I redid my whole entire message. And I spent those 2 days crying.
Oh my God.
Because I just major part of my belief system.
Yeah.
Put up, and that pastor that I said we had sort of walked out together of the faith, I invited him and his wife over, and I hadn't seen him for 6 months. He had come to the exact same conclusion I had without us even talking, by studying the same passages. And I could tell on his face, saw the look in his eyes, that something was different about him. And I pulled him to the side, and I said, Aaron, you know, don't you? And he looked at me and said,
yep.
I'm like, what the hell do I do? You're the preacher. I got to tell these people. I can't not. He's like, you gotta. I'm like, just as long as you're there. Because I knew these people would tear me up and spit me out. If anything, they would drag me out and stone me to death in the backyard. Because that's what the Bible says. Because you deny Jesus. Oh, don't be denying Jesus. You know? So I went through the whole thing. I got a whiteboard out, and I put on the top of the whiteboard, it said, Jesus the man versus Jesus the lamb. And I went verse by verse by verse, Old Testament to New Testament. This is what the New Testament says. This is what the Old Testament says. It's completely wrong compared to, they're contradictory, completely contradictory. After about 20 minutes, I put my glasses down, I closed the Bible, I said, blessed be the word of God, and I walked out of the room because I could not contain myself anymore. The emotions were just, what did I just do? I just destroyed belief systems. You know, it was over.
Yeah, that must have been scary.
But I can't lie.
Yeah,
I can't lie to people.
It's scary, but at the same time, you're being very brave and putting yourself out there and being kind of like, I don't know, you're being honest and I don't know. What was the reaction? Like what?
People looked at me in dead silence, dead stares.
Okay.
Just like
shock.
What? Because I laid it out. There was no denying what I was showing that the Bible said.
Yeah.
According to the Bible, if you're going to sacrifice something to God, Yahweh, at the temple, it has to be perfect, not a blemish. Right? Otherwise, God cannot accept it as a sacrifice. It has to be the perfect lamb. Okay. What did they do to Jesus? Put him on the cross. They beat the living shit out of him, and he had cuts and scrapes and scars.
Oh, they messed him up.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible to be a sin sacrifice, according to the Bible that God wrote.
That's massive. No. Yeah. So when they finished staring at you, what did they? Well, they didn't stone you to death, obviously, but gee, like
no, but see, in the Jewish tradition, on Friday night at sunset, you are not allowed to do work. Okay, so I preached what I had to preach. We had our dinner. Everybody went home. The sun went down. No one's allowed to get on the internet, make phone calls, nothing until Sabbath is over.
Okay.
So Friday, all Saturday, I knew that it was going to hit the fan, especially online, because that's how.
You did it on a Friday, then. If you did it on a Monday, you would have been screwed. That's so weird.
So that's when it came out. Everybody got back online on Sunday. John the Baptist is worshiping Satan. He's doing this. He's doing that.
No. So they didn't believe you then. Oh, jeez.
I can say two people that were there. That my friend, the pastor's wife, they had already gone down that road. She wasn't ready to give it up yet, she was still holding on, grasping at straws. But there were people that believed what I said. It took them a little while. And then they tried to, dropping everything, they tried to get into Judaism because they still could not drop that core belief in a God, the God of creation. Well, that's real, right? So they tried to become Jews. And what we found out at the same time was no matter what you do, unless you're born into it, you're never going to be a Jew. Jews don't recruit. The only way Jews increase their population is by having kids. You have to be born into the Jewish faith. You can practice Judaism.
Yeah, I never even thought about that or realized that. But yeah, you're right. You never see them recruiting. Yeah. Yeah.
Because they are God's chosen people by blood, by birthright. So,
you can't say Jews. You have to say Jewish.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't even. If I say anything that offends anyone, I don't know. I don't follow.
See that is you have Jews. You have Jews as far as a people group that is a generational thing that they're just like you have South Africans and English. There's Jews as far as genetic wise goes, and then there's Jews that are genetic, but it's a belief system too, because you can be a Jew but not follow the Torah and the the Jewish faith and still be a Jew. It's weird that way, but I understand. And if I am using a word that is offending people, I apologize. It's nothing I'm doing intentionally.
That's all right. It's okay. I don't even know. Jewish people are offended. You have to say they're Jewish. They're not a Jew. They're a Jewish person, a person of Jewish faith. I don't know. Anyway, let's not.
I called my friends and they didn't have any problems.
Because I don't even know. So Jewish people are a race. They're seen as a race, aren't they?
They're a race and a religion.
Yeah. Okay. Faith and culture.
But you don't have to be both. All Jews are race Jews, but not all Jews are religion Jews.
I don't know. Let's just not go down this road because I don't want to offend anyone. I'm just it scares me. I respect everyone and I will. Maybe I should study it and try and understand it more.
Yeah. When it came down to the Judaism, I had a rude awakening because everything that the church had told me about what the Hebrew faith believed was totally wrong.
Right.
They told us growing up that the Jewish people followed all these rules in the Bible so they could get to heaven. If they broke one of these rules, they're not going to heaven. Hence why we need the sacrifice. Hence where Jesus comes in, and we don't need all that stuff anymore because Jesus took it over. Come to find out, Jewish people do not believe in heaven or hell.
Okay.
If they break one of those laws, they're not going to hell. They do not believe that. So when you, as a Christian, try and witness to someone of the Hebrew faith or Jewish faith and start talking about heaven or hell, they're like, what the hell are you talking about?
Sounds easy.
And you don't realize
it sounds not having a heaven and hell and sounds a lot easier and it makes more sense. I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to, I think maybe that's why I don't believe in anything because I'm terrified of it really. Maybe that's why. I don't know. It's just too I don't know. I just don't want to
why they do believe because they're terrified of dying and being thrown into an empty abyss where their friends are not there. They're afraid there's nothing in the afterlife.
See, I don't believe in anything. I believe that when you die, you're just a carcass and that's it. You just, and that's just what I believe. Yep. But I respect what other people believe and I believe it helps people and that's great, and in a way I wish I could believe something, but I think I've done
There's only one way.
I don't know.
To find out, we can't tell anybody back here. There could, we could get to that,
Interesting.
hang out else on the planet. Who knows? But there's no
Yeah.
proof.
Everyone sees the world in a different way, and that's okay. That's just the way I look at it. Yeah.
None. As long as you live by that, do what the hell ever you want. As long as you're not hurting anyone,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. But then, like, and so Teresa just said, scared of the unknown, but I don't know. I can't. I don't know if I'm scared. I don't think I'm scared of religion. It just doesn't. I don't know. What I see is, what I have in front of me is what I see, and that's it. I don't know. I'm just like, maybe I'm just really don't have that much depth to me. I'm a simple gal.
Unless you were born into it and raised in it, as far as instilled into it as a child,
Yeah,
it's hard to believe it. I said I read the Bible the first time I read. I don't know how you guys ever believed in anything like that. Now I look back and I see, then I say the same thing to myself. But when you're taught to pick certain passages out and not necessarily take what the book says, but what the commentary, they put little words in the middle and on the side, and they give you little books that this is one sentence in the book, but this is what God really means about that. For example, the roots of Christianity are basically all have sinned and come short of the glory. So we can't see God because we were born into sin because of what Adam and Eve did. That's the big. Eve talked to the serpent. The serpent said, "Here, eat this." God said, "Don't eat that." The serpent said, "He's lying to you. Go ahead. You're going to live forever." She believed him. She gave it to her man. He took a bite. They sinned, kicked out of the garden. Now everybody after that is born in sin. Right? Nothing we can do about it unless we accept Jesus. Born this way. That whole section and that whole story comes from Genesis chapter 2. Not even all of Genesis chapter 2, about 5 verses in Genesis chapter 2. And basically, if you read it just as it is, it's that God says, you did wrong, you disobeyed me. Adam, because you disobeyed me and listened to the woman, you will have to till the soil, basically farm the land and harvest your own food. It's not just going to grow on a tree where you can walk up and eat it. You will have to work for your food from here on out because you sinned. Eve, because you sinned, you will have pain in childbirth. And you will be submitted to the man. And then it ends. God says, okay, you did wrong. It's just like, when you ground your child for doing something wrong. You take the Nintendo game away for a week, or you take their bicycle away. It was a punishment for what he did. Nowhere in that passage does it say everyone after that point is born in sin. It doesn't say that anywhere. It doesn't say that you need a sacrifice to take care of that. In fact, if you continue to read the first 5 books, which is the Torah, which is the rule, nowhere in there does it say if you break these rules, you're going to hell. It doesn't say it. The Christians put that in there. And they put it to you through commentary.
I don't know. I'm just like, look, there's these people from thousands of years ago or whatever telling us what to do, and I'm more like, maybe I just don't like rules. I'm just like, I don't really. Why? I don't want to be dictated to by someone else. I guess I don't know. Can we just clear up this? Can we clear up the Jew versus Jewish thing, because it's going on in the chat and it's distracting me, right? So I'm going to read out.
I can't read.
I'm going to read. Yeah. Oh, you can't see, right? So what's got you about okay, right, okay, right, mad, listen, or anyone else. So calling someone a Jew, sorry to say it, can be considered offensive because it often carries historical connotations of I can't say that word, Semitism. And basically, right, if you're calling someone a Jew, it's seen as a derogatory term, as in similar to the N word, I think, as Antics said. So if you think about, like, so back in the day and the plantations and stuff, and they'd call them the N word or whatever, it was, I guess, it was seen as more acceptable back then, which it isn't. It was absolutely appalling and disgusting and stuff, right? But, and then maybe back in the day when the whole horrible stuff was going on, I don't even like to say the words, right? And they were called Jews. I'm thinking it's the same as that. Okay, so we just don't use that word anymore. That's how it is, because it is seen as it's seen as an insult. I hope I'm getting that right. And the only reason Antics is saying that to you, Nomi, is because she wants to correct you, because she cares about you and she doesn't want other people thinking that you're a racist without even meaning to be, or whatever. Am I right?
I've had that in the past, and I've had many friends who were of the Jewish faith, even a Christian.
I didn't
using that word.
Yeah,
I
didn't know that. I didn't know that either, and I've learned something today. I think I've may have heard it, kind of somebody else arguing about it or whatever. But I bet once you said it's the same as it's the same as an N word. I totally understand it now. You're not saying,
and I'm not sure that it's across the board. It could be just, people are more sensitive towards it, and I completely understand it, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'll do my best, but it's never been an issue for me ever in the past, even around my friends that are Jewish.
Okay,
they say, "Hey, we're Jews." They walk around and say, "Hey, we're Jews." Yeah, you're Jews. Cool, you're Jews. I don't have a problem with you being a Jew. So.
I wonder, because I've been talking to a guy for years and years online, and he is of Jewish faith, but I've never called him a Jew, or I've never heard him call himself a Jew. I'll have to talk to him about it and see what he says, because I want to be correct. I'm not sure I can explain why. Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, if a certain race or group or person of faith or whatever don't want to be called something, we have to respect that. But then it is confusing when there are other people of said faith that aren't offended. So it's, I don't know. It's like with the whole, like, the neurodiverse community, right? You get some people that don't want to be called she is autistic. See, she is autistic is offensive because it's like autism isn't a disease. I'm autistic, by the way, so you got to say, what, I have autism rather than I am autistic. I mean, I'm not comparing that, and now I feel like I'm not comparing that to, like, what the Jewish people went through. Like, oh my God, like, no, oh God, you know what? I'm just gonna hand me a shovel. I'm digging a hole. I'm gonna freaking let's just move on, and we shall not use the word Jew from now on. Okay, deal, everyone.
I will do my best not to use that word.
And if you're doing it, you're not doing it on purpose to be offensive, all right? No, honestly, no. I think it's an interesting thing to talk about it, and it's something that needs to be established, maybe. And obviously, I don't want to upset anyone on here, and I hope we haven't and stuff. Yeah, like, yeah. I know you can upset. Oh God, yeah. I don't want to say you can upset anyone with anything, because I really, really, honestly, what they went through. I'm just going to stop talking. About it. Anyway.
Okay,
Meanwhile, back at the ranch. So you had this epiphany kind of thing and realised that it was all, in your opinion, a load of bollocks, right? And then you could just walk away from it, or did you feel like once you walked away from all of this,
that point is when I really,
what do I do with my
started
that I've been set up to be scared of? or you weren't scared of it anymore?
Yeah, because I still wanted to believe in God. God hadn't been disproven to me yet, just the Messiah portion of it had. So I still wanted to believe in God. But then I started questioning the Old Testament, is what Christians call it, which is basically the Old Testament is the first 5 books, which are the Torah, the songs, and the stories. That's basically 3 sections, which makes up the Torah. So I started studying. I actually started practicing different aspects of Judaism, in which the hardest part for me was going kosher in Alaska. Trying to eat the kosher diet.
You actually practiced Jewish faith for a while? Is that what you're saying? Or you just wanted to see what? Yeah, okay, right.
It was it was just another step out the door, and it was my final step because I started studying the Torah and the Old Testament the same way I had dissected the New Testament.
Yeah.
And what I was seeing was the same thing, the same hypocrisy, the same, wait a minute, that doesn't line up. That doesn't add up. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I started questioning rabbis at that point. Instead of questioning pastors, I started questioning rabbis. And here's a fun story.
It all sounds exhausting to me. It sounds really exhausting. I'd be just like, screw everything, I'm gone. But then
what was interesting to me in doing all that, all of a sudden I could do that, and it didn't make me feel guilty if I didn't, because all of a sudden now if I didn't do it, I wasn't going to hell, because that's not what the belief was.
Right.
You did it to get the cleaner you were, the closer to God you got. So if you were, did something wrong the week before, there was ways around it. You gave a sacrifice, you did this, you did that. Within 7 days, you're back, you're okay, everything's kosher, you go back to the temple, right? So they do it in respect and honor. Like, you have rules for your son that may be different than people have rules for their son. Your son follows that rules out of respect for you and out of love for you and caring for you. Well, that's...
My son makes up the rules. No, I know what you mean, yeah.
But that's I followed the law. I tried to follow the kosher rules because out of my respect and love for the Creator. If I love this Creator and He says, don't eat this, what's it going to hurt me not to eat that? Right?
Yeah.
Except for bacon. No bacon. Sucks. No bacon. A lot of turkey bacon.
Turkey
but anyway,
bacon, haven't tried
turkey
that.
bacon. Yeah, it's kosher. So, but it was funny because Rabbi Tovia Singer, he was very active in trying to be a bridge between the Jews and all these new out of Christianity people that wanted to be Jews. He was sort of like the intermediate. He was the answer man. If you had a question, that's who you went to. Well, he was on Israel Radio, which is on in Israel, and it was on a prime time, slot. And I called in and I said, Rabbi, I got a problem. Okay? I want to eat kosher. How do I do it living in Alaska? And the first thing is, well, you can't do it there. You got to move to a Jewish community. You got to do this, and you got to have, stores around where you can buy your kosher stuff. I was like, yeah, that ain't happening. How do I live a kosher diet in Alaska? For example, I hunt moose. Moose is a mainstay as far as a protein source in my life.
I've never
moose
tried
is
moose.
Moose is a kosher animal. Yep. Moose is kosher because it has a cloven hoof, which means the two. So it's kosher. It chews its own cud, makes it kosher. What makes it, according to his teachings anyway, it's all about how you kill it. If you don't kill it the right way, it's an unclean animal, so you can't eat it. Like, all right, cool.
Similar to halal? Or
yes, very similar to halal. Like, there is special knives, and it can't be. They can't be tortured. It has to be as quick as possible. All the blood has to be let out, which is things you naturally do as a hunter anyway. You shoot an animal, you get the blood out of it as fast as possible, so it it doesn't go bad. this, that, and the other
But
thing.
do you have to like, slit its throat rather than stunning it or something like that? Because
Yeah,
yeah.
what he was getting to, he started explaining to me how they slaughter animals in the butcher where he worked in Brooklyn, and how I needed to do that with a moose. And I said, Rabbi, have you ever seen a moose? You're supposed to do this. He's like, well, I witnessed tribes in Africa, and basically they get all the tribesmen together and they surround the animal, then they string it up, and I'm like, Rabbi, have you ever seen a moose? We're talking something as big as a Volkswagen Beetle on legs walking around. You ain't gonna that thing and string it up by its back legs and cut its throat. Sorry, ain't gonna happen. And he just kept going on. Well, you can't eat it, Dennis. This, that, and the other thing. I said, see, here's what when I started asking questions to pastors and rabbis, I already knew the answer before I started answering because I want to see what they said. I want to see if they led me to the right passages of the Bible that I found. And lo and behold, Father God spoke to Abraham on the mountain. And he said, God, I need food. Do I need to do this if I'm just eating? If I find an animal, just as long as it's kosher, do I need to do this whole yada, yada, yada just to have dinner? And God said, no. Unless it's a sacrament for the temple, you don't have to do that at all, just as long as it's this kind of animal. And when I messaged with Rabbi Toby after he went on for 45 minutes on his radio show, 4 breaks, he kept going on, and I just kept leading him on. And I was laughing the whole freaking time. I said, cool, this is what the Bible says, Rabbi. What are you going to say about that?
What did he say?
Nothing. He had no words. He couldn't say anything.
Oh dear.
It's hard to make a rabbi eat his words and shut up from that because they love to talk and they love to debate.
Gnome set him straight. Oh dear. Well, we're nearly getting up for the 2-hour mark. Is there any other story? Is there any other little stories you want to share that you think might get people going?
Not at this point. I do have some more, and I do have some very deep stories I'd like to go into that people are going to think I'm crazy. But tell you what, to hear those stories, you're going to have to book yourself on the Alaska Cruising with my Gnomies with Cricket and I in September, and we're going to sit around, and I'm going to tell all kinds of stories, not just about my life in Alaska, but deep stuff growing up.
I truly wish I could go. There's no way I'd be able to.
Maybe a like this is going to be the first annual because if it's popular enough, we're going to keep doing it year after year. So there's other opportunities. You don't have to come this year, but I highly recommend it. It is a trip of It's a trip of a lifetime. I'm going to have a blast meeting all these people, talking to everybody because I love talking.
I wish we could fly. I wish I could fly instead of going that way, go the other way, so that I could just go over Antarctica and the Arctic Circle and go there because it'd be a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But they just don't, because obviously because of the conditions. But I mean, I would have to probably go. I'm trying to think how I would even get there. I'd probably have to fly to LA, and then which would be ridiculous, and then. Yeah, I don't know.
Hawaii is
thousands.
A lot of planes or stopovers in Hawaii that come, to Seattle and Alaska. And it depends on which direction we go. We may go from Fairbanks and go south, or we may go from Seattle and go north. Not sure yet. But
I mean, even just getting to LA would be thousands for me, and then I'd have to bring my son, and I don't think he would want to go. And I don't think you guys would want a kid hanging around. So it just...
I've known that overseas that have gone through Hawaii and saved thousands of dollars not going through LA because they stopped over in Hawaii. So.
Yeah, but even to get to Hawaii would be thousands. I mean, it cost me $1,500 just to get to Melbourne in Australia. So it's very, very expensive. I'm literally in one of the most isolated cities in the world. The nearest big city to me is Singapore. So I'm very,
Wow.
very, very far away from everything. Yeah. That's why I like coming on here. I can talk to people.
I'm sort of the same way. You know, I'm 20 minutes from like the biggest town, which is Wasilla, but I'm an hour away from Anchorage. Anchorage is the largest city in Alaska with the largest population, but it's an hour away.
Yeah.
But Wasilla is everything that I need, so I never have to go in there unless I'm picking someone up at the airport.
Oh my God. Sorry, I just saw this. Did you hear about the measles outbreak in Brisbane? The news said it started at the Scientology building. When was this? Was this today? I have to cover this. Oh my God. That's mental because most of them are anti-vax and stuff, aren't they? Breaking news! Sorry, Naomi.
They,
That's crazy.
Right.
What is going on?
You got to
Yeah. I think what I'd have to do if I was going to go on the cruise, it would have to be when my son finishes high school. or it would have to be during the summer holidays. But then, so all my family, I don't have any family here to look after him. So all my family's in the UK. Their summer holidays is different to Australian summer holidays because we have our summer holiday combined with the Christmas holidays, right? So it's December and January, whereas theirs is July and September. Because I'd have to fly to the UK to leave my kid there, then fly from the UK. So it just wouldn't work, and he'd miss out on school because the holiday would be different, and it'd just be like, yeah. So I will just have to. You just have to bloody stream loads so I can see what's going on and be there digitally.
Or I'll have to go on a world tour.
A what?
I could be a traveling gnome.
Yeah, you have to come and do a Pacific cruise one day so I can join in. I'll try and I don't know.
I'd like things on my bucket. I'd love to visit Australia and New Zealand. I mean, I follow a lot of YouTube channels that are based out of there, and I'd love to go down and visit one day, especially New Zealand.
Come on down. Yeah, I've been to New Zealand. It is absolutely stunning. It's so beautiful. I've only done the North Island. I haven't done the South Island, but it was honestly the most beautiful place. So beautiful.
Yeah. Just on your couch, I'm golden.
But yeah, I will make it out to Alaska one day, definitely. Absolutely. Oh, that's nice. Let's just go through the comments, and then I'm going to have to call it a day because I promised my son I'd take him to go and see Sonic 3.
No worries.
Yeah. I enjoy listening to Naomi's stories. He makes me want to go to Alaska. There you go.
I hope you can make it work.
You're all good with antics. She thinks you're a sweetheart.
Mama Squirrel, she's got a relationship going on with gnomes, and I'm sort of jealous because I think I'm a better looking gnome than her.
Did you know Nomi knits? Yes, please follow Nomi on YouTube. His channel is going along in a little banner thing at the bottom there. He knits amazing Nomi hats. He does. They're so cool. I really want to get one, but the postage would just be astronomical. It's honestly anything from the US is crazy.
I had someone in New Zealand, one of my long-term fans, who wanted a hat, and I checked the shipping and handling just on a hat, which weighs about 6 ounces. Not even a pound.
I know.
Not even a half a pound.
It's mental.
$75.
Yep, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. Because I remember Kelly saying that I wanted to buy some Christmas cards that she was making. And she said, when I go on the cruise, I'll give them to Alan, who lives in Australia. So then he can take them back with him and then send them to me because it's just so expensive. It's insane. And I'm actually having the same problem. So I opened a merch shop and all the shipping's from Australia, from the US. So people in the UK and Australia can't really, I mean, I wouldn't expect them to pay the postage, so I'm going to have to I've already got 2 shops because one of them sells stuff from the UK and, so I'm going to have to 3 shops. One that sends from Australia because it's just mental, yeah.
Different YouTube channels and even over in Europe that they have to, they have one set up for their American customers, so shipping comes out of America, Then they have another one set up in Europe with European countries, be it out of Germany or whatever, because it's shipping out of there.
That's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna end up with like 5 different stores or something, but that's okay. Luckily, they don't cost any money to set up. So.
Trying to get stuff shipped here to Alaska because people, for some reason, think Alaska is a foreign country.
I know, right?
We are part of the United States. We have post offices just like you do. If we put a stamp on a letter, it's the same stamp people all over the lower 48 put on letters and ship from California to Florida. Okay? Cost exactly the same. Why are you telling me that same package that I need to ship up here is 3 times as much just because it's going to Alaska? Well, it's not part of the continental United States. Guess what?
We're by a bloody airplane or something, though, hasn't it?
We're still hooked to North America. We're on the continent. We're part of the continental United States, people.
Oh dear. What else have we got here? Welcome to the Church of Gnome. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I've been called a cult leader before.
Have you? Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much, Karen. I'm gonna put up a community post and let people know what I dye my hair with, because I've had so many people asking me. So I will I'll do a picture of what I use. It's a lot. And even like I did my roots, I think last week, but I have to go blonde, like real like white almost, and then dye over the top of it. I did a semi-permanent and now it looks a bit green there. So I'm still figuring it out, to be honest. I've never been blue before. Yeah.
Kool-Aid works very well. I used to have punk rock friends, and they use Kool-Aid.
Oh my god, yeah. But I'm very, very dark brown. So, and are you going to let Cricket dye your fabulous beard when you go on this cruise?
We'll have to think about that one.
Oh, go on. Do a semi-permanent. It will wash out. You'll be all right. It'll be fun.
It'd be, I've had people that just like to comb it and they put it in braids and this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Okay, so your attitude is great, T. My faith is just don't be an a-hole. Yeah, exactly. A lot of Christians are scared of dying. Didn't mean you. No, I mean, I'm so, this is the thing. I'm not religious, but I'm so scared of saying the wrong thing and offending people because of religion. I mean, don't they say like the things you're not meant to discuss at the dinner table is politics, religion, and money, isn't it? Right? Which is pretty old fashioned, and most people do these days. But still, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. Because of me being on the spectrum as well, I'm so worried about my communication skills and saying the wrong thing, because I do often say things on impulse and then I'm like, shit, and it will stay in my brain for years. I'll replay a conversation in my head over and over again. Like, say if something happened where someone, years ago, about 7 years ago, I was staying at someone's house and they said every time you get out of the shower you have to do the squeegee thing on the tiles because there's these marks starting to build up, right? But I was having a shower and someone was getting in the shower straight after me, so I thought there's no point in me doing the squeegee thing because they're just going to go in it, and I didn't do it. And then when that person came out of the shower, they gave me like the most evil look ever, and I've never forgotten it, and I feel so bad about it from 7 years later. And so every time I get in the shower I actually think, oh fuck, I didn't do the squeegee, that person hates me. Like, that's how much it. So, and I can't believe I'm on YouTube, like, talking to other humans. Like, it's terrifying for me sometimes.
I have to fold towels a certain way because I was living with a woman who insisted this is the way towels were supposed to be folded. And it wasn't that big a deal. It's just a certain way, so they fit better. And I sort of agree. So now I have to fold towels a certain way.
Yeah. So you have to fold it so that the fold is at the front, so it's easier to grab, right?
Hers was, it's got to be folded. The final fold has to be in third, no matter what it is. It has to end up
in a third.
I don't.
Yes, and ADHD as well, which makes my brain is just going like all the time, man, all the time. And my house is a mess, and just But I have a doormat that I made. I'll have to put a photo of it up. My doormat is so with the neurodiverse community. A lot of us use the rainbow infinity sign. So we've got that, and then it says welcome to our beautiful chaos. That's my home. I know where everything is, so butt out.
My place is in the house. Piles everywhere, but I know what's in that pile. You better not move that pile because I know where that thing is. If you move it, I won't know where it is. And how am I going to find it in this map?
It's I don't know about fun, actually, to be honest with you. I don't know about fun at the moment. I am just permanently exhausted. But yeah, I'd love to go to Alaska sometime. It looks absolutely stunning. Through Japan? Okay. Because isn't there a bit where like Russia and Alaska are almost touched, don't they? There used to be a certain time, like there was a time of year where you could actually used to be able to walk across. Not anymore, but very, very close. Yeah.
Little Diomede Island and Big Diomede Island, which is we call Yesterday Island and Today Island, and Yesterday Island and Tomorrow Island, because the way time zones work, the closer you get to the top of the planet, they get closer together. So while we have some islands like on the Aleutian, which is, if you look at Alaska, we've got the Aleutian Islands, or that chain of islands that comes out and goes this way. Little Diomede Island is up here near Russia. Well, down here is the same time zone as Hawaii. I'm over here, and I'm in Alaska time, which is about 500 miles away. But when you get up into here, it's so close that they skip. The one island is in Alaska time, and the other island is in Russia time, which is a day ahead. It's weird the way it works.
What? Naomi, what is your favorite place in Alaska?
I got to say, my favorite place in Alaska, besides sitting next to a stream with a fishing rod in my hand, would be Talkeetna, Alaska.
Where? What's it called?
That's a little village. Talkeetna, Alaska. It's a little village. I made a video on the Wilderness Woman competition. Was made in Talkeetna, Alaska. It's just a little bit. They were going to be stopping on one of the train stops on the Alaska cruise. Goes through Talkeetna, and it's just a little town at the base of Denali. So there's a lot of people that base out of there to go climb Denali, because Denali, you have to climb Denali if you want to climb Mount Everest. It's sort of a trial. If you can make it up Denali, you have permission to go up Everest. Your experience.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot of out of there. There's a lot of tours, because Talkeetna means three rivers meet, so they have these jet boats that go up different streams and stuff and show you. It's just a real cool place, and there's a lot of people there in the summer, which drives a lot of people crazy. In the winter, it's just dead quiet. The community, as far as, if you watch that video, I speak to a gentleman by the name of Philip Manning, who's in charge of the nonprofit that runs the Wilderness Woman event and does the fundraising. And my interview with him just brought me back memories about that community and how they take care of each other so much. And it doesn't matter what your system is.
Yeah,
if you're part of,
I imagine it's like some of the outback towns here as well, or even, what was I going to say? The bloody, where it's you get the wet season and the dry season here, in certain towns it'll be like absolutely rammed full of people, and then there's nothing, but all the people look after each other, because it's survival. I can not as mad as it is there with I'm sorry, I'm trying to get your channel up. Like, do you have to like gather loads and loads of supplies for winter, like for when winter comes and there isn't anything to hunt, or like you really have to?
No, it depends. If you live in the city, no, you can go to the grocery store every day and they live just like anybody else lives.
Yeah.
me, as far as a lifestyle goes, I put food up because, one, that's what I was raised around. My mom was uh, lived during the depressions of the 1930s, so
Yeah.
she taught me if it's affordable and it's cheap, you put it up.
Yeah.
So if there's a buy one get one, you buy it when you can and you put it up for later. And here, living in Alaska, when you live more of what we call a subsistence lifestyle, whereas we live off of what we hunt and what we fish as far as our proteins go, because you can't
Yeah.
afford meat in the grocery store anymore. Well, I can get enough fish to more than sustain me as far as salmon go for a year, but they only come around in a small window. So you
Yeah.
have to get those fish that will last you until they come back again the next year. It's the same thing with berries. Berries grow all year round. You'll get a month of a berry season. If you want berries in the spring, you put up your berries that you pick in the fall, and you either freeze them or make jams out of them or jellies out of them. And it's a way of life here. It's what the natives did, you know.
Yeah.
You put things
Yeah.
up while they're available, so that way you have them. What a lot of people don't understand is when it comes to putting up food, a lot of people like to say, "Well, I'm putting up food for winter." Yeah, you are, kinda, but people throughout generations didn't die in the wintertime because they ran out of food. They ran out of food in the spring, just before they could start growing and planting again. If they
Right.
couldn't make it until it started coming back up again, they would die. You know, there was more deaths in April and March after a long, hard winter than there is over the winter. So,
Yeah. And it's really sad. It just shows how much commercialism has, taken over. And I really appreciate all of the stuff that native people do, especially here in Australia as well, where they follow the seasons and, and the particular areas as well. They were very nomadic, and I just think it's beautiful and it needs to be kept alive. So it's nice to see people living like that still and keeping it alive. Definitely.
what drove
Oh,
me crazy was the whole pandemic thing and all the stuff that was going on, and people, hoarding stuff and raiding the grocery stores. I'm like, you guys are Alaskans. We don't do that. We go fishing and put our fish. We all have either freezers or pantries full of canned goods. What are
yeah.
you doing?
Yeah.
Well, it's people
What was
up there
with the
that don't
toilet
live.
rolls? Do they have the mad toilet roll craze over there as well? It's like, why did people
Oh,
think
yeah.
that they needed this toilet roll? Like, COVID doesn't give you diarrhea, as far as I know, does it? I don't know. It was crazy, absolutely crazy.
Suggestion: if they say you're gonna run out, you're gonna run out. And see, that's one thing up here is that it is a high possibility when stuff like that does happen that we will run out of food. If you depend on the grocery stores for food in Alaska, they only have in their warehouses and on their shelves 3 days of supply for food.
Yeah,
If people
right.
came in and everything,
Yeah, that's
3 days
crazy.
worth of food, the shelf, and by the time they resupply, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. Wow.
When they had a shipping strike in Seattle, because a lot of our food comes up on barge from Seattle.
Mm,
Well, there was a strike, and the dock workers weren't loading the barges. In 3 days, the grocery stores were running out of food. And it
yeah.
took 2 weeks, because even if on that third day, they said, all right, send the food up. It takes 2 weeks for the barge to get here. People, what do you think?
Oh, it's
Put up
crazy.
enough food. Did you get enough food? Has
There's
nothing to do with Armageddon or
yeah.
to do with
mass
life.
mass hysteria, and I even had it like my son. He at that point he's autistic, so he would only eat this certain shape of pasta, and it's like a wagon wheel shaped pasta, and I mentioned it on my local like giving group. Like you have those free, you give away stuff, and you gift each other.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. Yeah. So and I was on it, and I just said, "Oh, look, does anyone have any of this pasta?" Because it's the only thing. Well, it's one of the only things my son will eat. Well, this bunch of, and they were Christian people actually. They came round with a car, and they had 16 carrier bags full of these packets of pasta. And I said, no, please, I don't want to take all of this, because There's other people that are going to need pasta. I don't need this much. This is insane. I'm still getting through these bags of pasta now. I still have some in my cupboard. It's insane. Like, why so much? It's just
It is
one little.
still the only.
Who's crazy? But yeah. Anyway, on that note, we'll just check to see if there's anyone else any other questions. I don't think there is. Everyone wants to come and visit you in Alaska.
Yep, we're gonna have fun before it melts. Alaska's melting, kids. See it now before it turns back into a tropical woolly mammoth land.
Oh, just I don't even know what to say to that. Like, but so to find details on the cruise, where do people go? Is there a group or something?
I'm working on a group. I'm having trouble getting pictures to upload as far as Facebook doesn't accept the pictures that I have. I'm working on that. Any of my videos, I have my email and contact info. You can drop me an email. It's also on my main bio on my page. Or Cricket probably has more details. Xiaoyunsmut @gmail.com.
She'll probably be online. She'll be live soon, probably, won't she? What time does she normally come on? I think probably now. I think you've missed Pup Groomer. I think you've missed Pup Groomer.
Sorry, Pop.
Alaska.
She understands.
Russia used
but
to
yeah,
own
as soon as I get the Facebook page going, I'll post it on my community. Yes. I'm working on it. Awesome. Cricket's working on the price still. She's a lot on her plate with what's going on in her family, so I'm not pushing her too much. So, but she's working on the prices and the pack because her fee has been paid. She said she's not booking any more cruises until she gets her fee paid, which I totally understand. Nobody should work completely. Right.
The last cruise was a bit of a catastrophe when it came to payments, I heard. Yeah. So yeah.
Already, her fee has been paid for the Alaska cruise. So now all she has to do is put all the package deals together. Is going to happen. So.
Yes. Oh, awesome. Well, hopefully I can join you on in the future. And Xiaoyunsmut is on at the moment. Let me try and I'll get her channel up if anyone wants to go and watch her stream. She is amazing. She's very funny, very witty, with a lovely dry sense of humor. She's just an all round amazing human, in my opinion. I think she's awesome. Let's see. Is it just Xiaoyunsmut? No.
I know. I put you and her in the same category. You're just beautiful, amazing souls, inside and out.
Oh, thank you. I feel very, very honoured, very flattered. I don't know what her channel is. Putting in her name and it's not coming up. Oh, there we go. Oh, it is Xiaoyunsmut.
Yeah, it should be.
I got it. All right. So copy. I'll put her in the chat.
Whoops, while you're doing that, I'll plug my channel. I'm the Gnome Stead My Alaska Life. I just basically share my life and my experiences and my wisdom. I love to teach people how to live a better life, a more affordable life, not just necessarily here in Alaska, but anywhere by, gardening, harvesting wild foods, how to save money, how to live more affordably. I teach how to build wood stoves, geodesic domes, anything that I'm building, I share with people, whether it be a woodshed or a chicken coop or anything like that. Wild harvesting, it just depends on the time of year. This time of year, I do a lot more cooking and canning videos as far as how to can foods and, put stuff up. And I do Northern Lights videos. So
awesome, yeah, you got some awesome stuff. So yeah, check them out. Xiaoyunsmut is live right now. If anyone wants to pop over, I don't know anyone else that's online, so go and check her out. And yeah, it's but yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm really bad at saying goodbye as I linger on and on, so I'm just gonna go bye. And yeah.
Love you.
Lovely to see you, mate. Take care. Bye, everyone.
See
ya.